Hi, this is Scott Wilkinson, host of Home Theater Geeks. In episode 282, I chat with Barb Gonzalez, the simple tech guru, about her experiences with the latest generation of streaming boxes. So stay tuned.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Home Theater Geeks is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This is Home Theater Geeks with Scott Wilkinson, recorded November 19th, 2015. Episode 282, Gently Down the Stream. This episode of Home Theater Geeks is brought to you by Corning Optical Cables. Corning's incredibly durable Thunderbolt and USB 3-point optical cables are longer, thinner, lighter, and stronger. Go to opticalcablesbycorning.com to learn more. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to learn more. Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here, the Home Theater Geek and editor of avsforum.com. This week's guest geek is Barb Gonzalez, the simple tech guru and streaming maven if ever I knew one. Hey, Barb, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
So nice to be for you to be here. I believe this is your 5th solo appearance, so always happy to have you here.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun today.
Let's have some fun today. I think we will. Those who are tuned in live at live.twit.tv and logged into the chat room from there or at irc.twit.tv can post questions as we go, and I'll pass along as many as I can. So, Barb, you have your own website called simpletechguru.com.
I do.
And I noticed that just very recently, the top of the homepage is your article summarizing all of the new streaming boxes that have been released in the last, I guess, couple of months.
Just 2 months, yeah. Everything came out.
Amazing.
Yep. Oh, thank
Amazing. So there it is. So those of you who are watching the video can see the website and this article that is right there on the homepage, which is what we're going to talk about today. All these new streamers and what you think of them, since you've now had a chance to play with them all. Yes. Let's go through them. What do you think of the new Amazon Fire TV?
Well, the Fire TV has always been great. It's pretty easy to use, and there's but what they've done now is that they've added 4K. And
right.
So now I'm going to say this right now, on these 4K devices where you're hooking them up from the outside and using HDMI to hook them up to your TV, all of them require a TV that has HDCP 2.2, which is the newest digital rights management that can handle 4K.
Right.
So if you don't have that, though, you're not going to get 4K out of any of the things. But just to make a point aside there, you can still get 4K if the internal apps of the TV support 4K, because you don't need HDCP for that. But you do if you're going to do a streaming from a Fire TV or a Roku or anything like that. Right. Anything that you're connecting from the outside, you're going to have the digital rights management.
Right.
As it goes, go ahead. I
was just going to say doggy.
Oh yeah, sorry, the door's closed. But the Fire TV is very similar to the earlier version, and it's just got the 4K, and it's a little faster. Pretty much all of the ones that are coming out now have the faster connection, the 802.11ac, to go with the fast routers, so that they can start keeping up with things like 4K streaming, which is 15 megabits per second or something that you need.
Yep. So let me ask you this. What about, speaking of Wi-Fi, 802.11 AC and so on, and needing the fastest Wi-Fi. What is your thought, and I'm going to take a little aside here, what is your thought about Wi-Fi streaming of content, video content, movies and TV and so on, versus having the hardwire Ethernet connection?
Oh, well, with the 802.11 AC and another thing they call MIMO, which is multiple in, multiple out, something like that. Anyway, what it is it's streaming, it's beaming to devices. And I don't seem to find really much of a difference between actually hardwiring and using the wireless. It seems to work very well. Now, if you have a lot of other people who are also using the wireless, then I would consider doing a hardwire. But if it's just you and you're really doing the only stream in the house, then you're probably just fine.
Okay. Well, I've always recommended that people use a hardwire if they can, just for the reliability of it. But as you say, if there isn't a lot of other traffic on the Wi-Fi, then maybe it'd be fine.
It always is for me. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I haven't had any problem.
All righty. Let's get back to the Fire TV then. It has a 802.11 AC. So Wi-Fi is very fast. It'll do 15 megabits pretty easily.
It does
for
what
4K.
It needs to. Yeah, yeah. The thing I always liked about the Fire TV is X-Ray. And X-Ray is a service that is based on IMDb. That's the Internet Movie Database.
Right.
There's an app, and you can go online and everything, where you look up things about movies and cast and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And so when you're watching a movie or a TV show that is on Amazon Prime, you're streaming from Amazon Prime, you can press a button, you can press up or down or something to see who the actors are in that specific scene. Which
actually,
I think
and what we're showing here on the video is actually the second of the two X-ray images I wanted to show. The first one shows exactly what you were just talking about. The actors that are in a scene. And so you're watching a movie, you're watching a scene, you hit the X-ray button, whatever it is, and you get maybe something like this.
Right. You'll also notice that that scene happened to have a song. And so the album and the song is shown. So if you're watching a show, what happens to me a lot is I'm going, oh, who's that actor and what has he been in? And rather than having to go and look at all of the cast, you can see right away who that is and click on him and find out what he's done. Like you
right.
showed
And
on
in fact, that's what that second
second screen
is.
was.
Yeah. So let's look at that again. There's the second screen. You click on Titus Welliver in that list that we just saw a moment ago. And here you have more information about him, what he's been in before, and that sort of thing. Which I have to say, I love that functionality. I'm exactly the same as you. I'm like watching a scene and I'm going, who is that again? And instead of having, what else was he in? Where did I see him before? And instead of having like a laptop or a tablet or even your phone next to you and looking it up, you can look it up right there on the same screen. I think that's cool.
And that it's just the people in the scene. It's really fun when you're watching it. If you keep it on, you see people popping in and out, whoever's going to be in that next scene. And as people leave the scene, that they disappear. But again, you can see that there's the music, which is another thing that happens. You go, oh, I really like that song. And there it is right there. And there's also trivia. So that's kind of interesting. You can either you can also just look at a big long list of the trivia or what have you, but you could see the trivia for that scene. If there's something in that scene, like, it was filmed at such and such castle or whatever, I just think that's really fun because that's the way I watch TV. And I think that's cool. So that continues in the Fire TV.
That was in the first generation as well?
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Okay.
Oh, here's the thing that's really new. in the new Fire TV, but it's also been updated for the old Fire TV, and that's Alexa. Do you know Alexa from Amazon
I don't.
Echo?
Oh, what's
You know
that?
the Amazon Echo, right?
Yeah.
So the Amazon Echo uses a voice command, and the voice command's wake-up name is Alexa. And so you get the app on your phone, and if you have an Amazon Echo, you know that you can do things like find out the weather, find out the traffic, find out the news, create
by speaking into the phone.
By speaking to it. Well, no, not speaking into the phone. With the Echo, you're speaking.
Oh, the Echo. Sorry, yeah.
But the new Fire TV has Alexa, kind of a mini Alexa. It's not awake like the Amazon Echo. You have to press the microphone button on the remote and you don't say Alexa, but instead you can use the microphone button. But you can see your shopping list and edit your shopping list. You can see your calendar. You can, if you are asking, like, what is the Eiffel Tower? If you're doing it on the Amazon Echo, she'll tell you. But on the Fire TV, if you say, what is the Eiffel Tower, it'll show you a picture as well. So it's kind of cool, and it works with the app. So if you don't have an Echo, you can just create your shopping list on your Fire TV, and it'll show up on your phone when you're at the store, and so you can have it with you and stuff. And I'm sure that as time goes by and people create more apps, there's probably going to be stuff that will integrate video. Right now, Alexa will only start playing any music the way that it is on the Amazon Echo. You can say, I want to play James Taylor, Fire and Rain, and it will immediately play the music. It's not doing that for video yet, but they say that's supposed to happen in 2016.
Okay. We'll probably see that working at CES or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about the Fire TV, the new one that sort of goes beyond the previous one?
No, just fast, and Amazon
and
does
4K, of course.
Well, but I mean fast in terms, it's got a faster processor. So not only does the 4K run better, but the minute you click on a app, it's going to pop right up, and it moves around. The other thing is that Amazon has, and I've forgotten the name of this. I think it's called ASAP or something, where it kind of guesses, not only does it give you recommendations for videos, but it actually kind of preloads some of them so that if you want to watch something in the recommendation list, it will just pop right up rather than having to wait for it to load at all and buffer.
That's cool. Very cool.
But that's true about the old one as well.
And what is the price of the new one? I don't recall that.
I believe it's $99, which was what the old one was. Now, there's also because of the faster processor, they also are trying a little bit more gaming and having more gaming apps. So there is a gaming Fire TV that comes with a game controller, and it's $139.
Oh, so it's a different device?
No, it's the same device. It's just got the controller with it.
Got the controller with it. Oh, okay. So you're paying a little extra for the controller. All right.
$39. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the one that I'm most interested in probably is the Roku 4.
Okay. Why are you most interested?
Well, when people ask me, which streamer should I get, I normally say Roku because it has, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, the widest range of sources for streaming content, the widest range of apps. I mean, everybody's got Netflix, but Roku's got a bunch that maybe some others don't have. Am I right about that, or am I wrong?
They have 3,000 channels. They call them channels, not apps. They have over 3,000 channels. And the other thing is that sometimes they have private ones. So groups or places out of the country can create a channel that you can get as well. Trying to think if there's anything that it doesn't have. I can't.
Well, does it have iTunes?
Well, no, but who wants that anyway? But we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that a little later. Yes, we will.
Yeah. But it's, yeah, it's just got everything. And here was something interesting. So all of them need that HDCP 2.2, but the Fire TV, the NVIDIA Shield, when I hooked it up, it just pretended that it had 4K content. Anyway, when I hooked up the Roku 4, it was really particular. It wouldn't even give me the option of saying that I had a 4K display until I hooked it up to a HDCP 2.2 connection.
Really?
So, yeah, and Roku has a little bit more about that too, in that there's just so much to say. It's all beginning to come into my head. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
So, okay. So when you connect to Roku 4, if it doesn't have the connection, you're not going to even see the option of choosing a 4K TV.
Wow.
If it doesn't 2.2. And it also doesn't show one of the other great features that it has, which is the 4K spotlight content. I hope I'm calling it the right thing, but basically, when you have it hooked up with 4K, you'll have how there's like lines of recommended videos or whatever it is. There'll be a line for recommended 4K content or new UHD TV or UHD content. And
that's kind of good. I like that. I like that it separates it out, because if you have a 4K TV or UHD TV, you want to play the best possible looking stuff on it, and without having to scramble around and find it amongst a million other things.
Exactly.
That's great.
So you don't have to go through all of it's not going to have everything. It's just going to be some spotlight stuff, but it will have it from all the different apps. Now, the other thing that was really cool is that, MGO is one of the streaming apps, and it's integrated into Roku. So when you go on, it'll say home screen, and then right below it, it'll say movies and TV. And when you go to the movies, it's actually taking you to the MGO service. So they've integrated all of that. And MGO has now got 4K content. And my favorite thing about this is that the 4K content previously has been like on Netflix, so that's whatever subscription is, and also on Amazon Instant Video. And when it's on Amazon Instant Video, if it's either in Prime or you have to pay $26 to buy the video.
Oh man, really? 26 bucks?
I know. It's like,
yikes!
Are you kidding?
That's serious.
I just wanted to watch it once. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So, but MGO has it for rent. For $5.99, you get a 4K video that you can rent, and they have several titles, including some indies, and so it's kind of cool. Yeah, so with the Roku, it seems like when you're talking about 4K content, it's easier to find, and it's there's just more of a variety of it at this point, So that's pretty cool. The other thing that they now have, and this is true for older Rokus as well, at least the Roku 3. And that one, they have a thing called Follow. And so like you can go through and see what movies are in the movie theater now, and you could follow those movies that are still in the movie theater. And later on, when they become ready and become available in streaming apps, it will show up what apps. When it comes up, it shows up.
That's cool. That's very cool.
You can know when it is. And likewise, if there's stuff that you find, let's say on MGO, but you want to wait until it's going to be on Prime or something else that you have for free, you can follow it, and it'll tell you when it's going to be on different streaming services, when it's gotten to new streaming services, and TV shows as well. So when a new episode comes, especially after the hiatus, it's like, when is this new Grey's Anatomy coming on? And it'll tell me when the new Grey's Anatomy is going to be on Hulu, So
wow.
And you can also follow directors, and you can follow actors. And You
so
know.
the next thing that they are involved in, it'll show when they become available.
Exactly. So when you do a search for something, you can hit the button that says follow, and there it is.
Yeah. Mike Heiss in the chat room. I'm pretty sure you know Mike Heiss, right? He's a member of our press corps anyway. He said in the chat room, when Barb just said Alexa, it woke up my Echo, and now it's confused.
Well, that's why
hilarious.
That's why I'm sure that's funny. That's why I'm sure that they made it so that it wasn't a voice activated, because if it was voice activated, anytime I say Alexa, mine goes off in the other room. So yeah, I'm glad. Yeah.
Right. Indeed. Okay. The Roku 4 is a little more expensive than the previous Rokus, right? They were up to, I think, $99 for the 3, and the 4 is a little more. $129,
I think.
Sorry?
It's on my website, but I think it's $129.
So not that much more.
No, not that much more.
I mean, all these things are really inexpensive. I'm amazed.
Well, you know how small, though, the Roku 3 was? It was about like this big.
Mm-hmm.
One of the funniest things is that, they're always trying to make it smaller, go into a dongle, make it smaller. Roku 4 is like 4 times the size of a Roku 3. Big flat.
Wow. Why is that, I wonder?
More stuff in it, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe the processor's working harder, maybe needs more heat dissipation. Who knows? The remote looks the same, but the box itself is quite a bit bigger.
The remote is not quite the same as the 3
really?
Yeah, the 3 doesn't have the direct play buttons. The 3, you see those 4 buttons, the Netflix, Amazon, Sling, radio.
Yep.
Which is kind of funny because radio just had declared bankruptcy. So,
oh man,
I know, got it on the button. But no, the Roku 2 had the direct buttons. Roku 3 didn't. But one of the things that's very cool about both the 3 and the 4 is, as you saw, that you can plug in your headphones.
I've always thought that was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you have it in the bedroom, don't have to bug anybody if you're trying to get to sleep and stuff. I like that too.
SoundPro69 in the chat room says, I love the Roku platform, especially now that they offer the Met Opera on demand channel. I still have the Roku 2 and considered an upgrade to the 3 or 4 because they now support FLAC, lossless audio format. But I heard the 4 has a loud fan.
Oh, do you know something you've got a defective one?
You've
You've
heard of this before?
No, that happened to me. When I got my first one, it was so loud, and there was just no way. And I contacted them and said, hey guys, I can't watch this. And it was a defect, and it got me another one that's absolutely silent. So I'm not trying to say to everybody who's got a loud one that they should run out and bring it back, but it's not supposed to be that way.
Yeah, okay. SoundPro69, there you go. Mike Heiss has a question that I'm going to get to in a minute, but before we do, I'd like to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors for this episode, which is Corning Optical Cables. Now, Corning has transformed the traditional USB and Thunderbolt cables from plain old copper into incredibly durable fiber optic speed demons. Whether you're into high-end video, photography, audio production, or computing, you want the best, most reliable cables out there. Take a look at Corning's Thunderbolt and USB 3-point optical cables. Corning is known for fiber optics, and when you think of fiber, you think of glass, and glass breaks, right? Yet Corning has figured out how to make their USB and Thunderbolt cables super strong and flexible. So flexible, in fact, you can bend them, walk on them, even tie them in a knot, and they keep transmitting at top speed. I have a Corning USB 3-point optical cable here that's hooked up to my printer, and look at this tight knot. And believe me, I was a little concerned about doing this, but I talked to a Corning guy at a trade show, and he said, no, just yank on it. It works fine. And it does. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So this is a very important thing that people with cables, and believe me, we all have cables, need to know and need to have on hand, because this flexibility and strength is what separates these cables. And speaking of speed, Corning fiber optic cables provide incredible data rates, up to 20 gigabits per second for Thunderbolt and 5 gigabits per second for USB 3. No other cable comes close. Another interesting fact is that Corning optical cables are 50% thinner and 80% lighter than traditional copper cables. And you can get exceptional cable runs as well, up to 60 meters or 200 feet for Thunderbolt, and 50 meters or 165 feet for USB 3. That means you can declutter, move peripherals into another room, improve productivity, and increase security by putting expensive gear out of the way. Corning optical cables are longer, thinner, lighter, and stronger. Go to opticalcablesbycorning.com to learn more. That's opticalcablesbycorning.com. And we thank Corning very much for their support of Home Theater Geeks. Okay, Barb, Mike Heiss in the chat room is asking a question. He and I went to a thing last night about, it was a SMPTE event, about the NASA TV UHD station channel that they're actually working on now. They haven't launched it yet. Well, sort of. You can get it by satellite if you're willing to be a serious DIYer with satellites. But they were mentioning how there are certain things called CDN limitations that prevent Roku 4 and other streaming boxes from carrying it at this time, because CDN turns out to be expensive for them. I hadn't heard that term before. Do you know what that is?
I've seen it. I don't know what it is, and I guess I'll have to look it up now.
Yes, now you have to go look it up, as I do as well, and talk about that, because that was a thing that they're still working on. I mean, it's not readily available, this new channel, but what we saw was at least on a Sony 4K TV that they had in the lobby really looked amazing, and their whole goal is to get 4K NASA footage, and that means, you know, from the space station and launches and deep space photography from the Hubble and stuff like that. Boy, you see that in 4K and it just looks phenomenal, really amazing. So that's something to look for. Oh, undermined, CDN is Content Delivery Networks. Okay, thank you. And so that costs them something, which is probably why it's not out yet. Because they want to make it free. They want to make it available to anybody to see what NASA is doing. And so NASA teamed up with a company called Harmonic, which makes HEVC and MPEG encoders and decoders. And they've flown them up to the space station and you know, worked on getting more content down. We were told yesterday they now have a bandwidth from this ISS, the International Space Station, down to Earth of 300 megabits per second. That's all, which is pretty amazing. Gosh. I know.
I just looked up CDN, and it reminds me of a lot of the stuff that was going on when like Verizon was slowing things down during the whole internet. I'm blanking. You know.
No. I hate when that happens.
You know, when the internet, trying to make sure that everything's free and flowing and.
Oh, right. Yeah, the.
I'm blanking on the word.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. Oh no, somebody in the chat room will come up with this word. No doubt about it.
You know, that the FCC said that everything has to flow evenly. And I think the CDNs are sort of a channel to delivery service, a delivery network to channel stuff. So it has to be big enough to handle it. And I think that might be something. So it's more with the internet than it is actually with the devices.
Oh, okay. All right. Web7043 asks, what cable systems do you get NASA UHD on? None. Not available till next year. The only way you can get it right now is to kludge together a DIY satellite system and know where to point that dish. It's the only way to get it right now. Net neutrality. Thank you, Sentinel and Lawn Dog and Tater and Eric Duckman. So many people remember Neither you nor I could remember. Then the whole argument over net neutrality. Exactly.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. I couldn't think of it either. All right. So Roku 4 can do 4K. Fire TV can do 4K streaming. So can the NVIDIA Shield.
Right. But before we get into NVIDIA Shield, I just want to say one more thing about the Roku 4.
Oh, sure. Of
and
course.
Voice search is a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Able to search. When you're talking about the Fire TV, it was always supposed to be a great voice search. Well, it was good if it's playing on Amazon, but it's very rare that it's giving you any kind of results that are on the outside of Amazon. The voice search for the Roku 4 is much better because it's agnostic. So when you do a search, you're going to see it on MGO, you're going to see it on Sling TV, you're going to see it on all kinds of different places. I don't think they have Sling TV on that one, but they do have it several different places that you can find it. Now, the voice search from the remote, it never understood me. But
the Roku, you mean?
The Roku, yeah. But the Roku app for smartphones, I did the voice search on that, and it understood me each time, and it was really great. So,
does that? Okay, all right. Well, voice search is pretty important these days, becoming more so. It's interesting when you say that the voice search on the Fire TV doesn't like to take you outside of Amazon. It reminds me that Amazon dropped. What did they recently drop from their
Apple TV and Chromecast, because neither of them work with the Amazon streaming video. Now, I don't want to alert them to it, but as we're going into NVIDIA Shield, that they don't have Amazon either, but they still seem to be carrying the the NVIDIA Shield at least
on Amazon. Okay. Well, let's talk about the NVIDIA Shield then, which is probably the least familiar to me anyway. But it sure is a cool looking thing.
It is. Look at that remote control. Do you see that center channel of the remote control? I actually have it here in front of me.
Okay, I'll put it up on the camera. Let's see.
So here we go. See the remote control? See this channel here? It's up and down. That is actually the volume. When you swipe your finger up and down like that.
Swipe your finger for volume. That's really interesting.
Isn't that fun? It's pretty cool looking. And it's rechargeable. So you can hook it into a USB. You don't have to worry about batteries. That seems to be kind of a new thing that people are doing. The NVIDIA Shield is probably more familiar to people who are gamers, because NVIDIA has been a big name in video cards for PCs and such.
For a long time. And we can see in this picture. And we can see in this picture that it comes with a gaming controller as well as a little TV controller. And
it feels really good, in your hand. It's a comfortable gaming controller, and they just have a lot of games. And I think the whole idea is to do a lot of like 4K gaming. I'm not a big gamer, so I can't talk to that a lot.
I'm not either.
The thing is that it's not its own OS. It's actually Android TV. And there's the Nexus player was the first Android TV that come out, and that didn't really take off anywhere. And now this is the next Android TV. And unlike Apple TV, it's really hard to find apps for it. They said, really? All these Android apps and such, and it's just not really easy to find. And it's of all of them, it's probably the more advanced one in terms of how to get from one navigation screen, home screen, to another. It's beautiful picture, beautiful sound quality, great if you want to be gaming.
Yeah.
But and it does have a cool feature where it recommends videos from all different kinds of apps. So on your home page, which actually is just sort of a half page. So you're watching whatever you're watching in the background, and the home screen just kind of comes on over it.
And sort of an overlay menu.
Yeah, yeah, which can be confusing depending what you've got behind it, because it can get really busy. But the first thing is recommended videos based on what you've been watching and the kind of things that you like, and but you get recommendations from all the apps, from YouTube, from Hulu, all of those different apps. So it's
kind of more agnostic as well, unlike the Fire TV or the Apple TV.
Yeah, one of the things is that the voice search, they've kind of used the voice search that they had on Google TV, which was one of my favorites, where you could do kind of a contextual kind of search. So show me all the movies that were shot in Las Vegas, or show me a movie about sinking ships, and you get Titanic, So, and it's pretty agnostic. And remember earlier I said that I thought that Roku did Sling TV. It doesn't. But the NVIDIA does look for stuff on Sling TV. It's a great quality. And if you like to play games at all, especially any kind of mobile games, it's a really great experience for that.
Muchacho in the chat room is asking, is personal content included in the voice search? And we now have voice search on several of these things.
Right.
Will it also look for, your own content on your own, sitting on your server or your computer or something on the network?
No, it won't. It definitely won't. I think we're close to being able to search stuff that's on Plex TV. You know Plex, right?
Yeah. In fact, a couple people in the chat room have been mentioning Plex as one thing that some of these devices can access. I don't know which ones, to tell you the truth.
All of them can access Plex now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a heavy Plex user because it does transcoding. So if it will transcode a file, if the file can't play on that particular device, it'll transcode it to play to what it can play. And for me, as a photographer, I shoot a lot of raw files, and those can get not transcoded, but whatever you want to call it.
Compressed, I guess.
Well, it just it has like some kind of thing where it allows it to show. It can read the raw files and send it to the Plex app on anything. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, so Plex is very cool. But so far, I'm not even finding that it'll find my videos. Nobody's finding it on Plex yet.
Now, you mentioned something to me offline about the NVIDIA Shield and HDCP 2.2, which we had talked about earlier.
Right. And yes, it does need 2.2. There is nothing online that I saw that tells you that, but I did find the original email from the PR company, and it does say that it has to be at 2.2.
Okay. Anything else you want to mention in particular about the NVIDIA Shield?
Not really.
Okay.
It's not the one that I pull out the most.
Interestingly, we're coming up to the one that you told me offline that you do pull up the most, which is interesting, and I want to know why, and that is Apple TV.
Yeah, and like we were talking about offline, I'm really angry at Apple because El Capitan crashed my computer for over a month.
Oh, man!
Yes, it was not pretty, and I had to take all my files off. I couldn't even do Time Machine to put it back. I had to replace each file by itself. I had to clean off my computer. I'm also not happy with my Apple Watch, so I haven't been happy with Apple for a little while. So for me to say that the Apple TV is my favorite is huge.
It's really huge, especially considering all of that and the fact that it doesn't do 4K like the other ones do.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do 4K. And so maybe if people are really wanting to have the best quality picture and you want to have 4K, then you should. Now it does 1080p, but it does beautiful on the, with the upscaling onto the 4K. I'm seeing makeup in people's pores on TV, on Hulu. So
now that's your TV
okay.
doing the upscaling, probably. Have you got the
absolutely. Yeah. But the Apple TV has actually done what it should have done years ago, which is basically creating an app environment like it is on a phone or what have you on the TV. There's an app store. It's not just on the video side. It's got Hulu and Showtime and HBO Now and HBO Go and CBS All Access. So basically, between CBS All Access and Hulu, I can watch all of my network shows, and Showtime and HBO. I can watch all of those, and it looks very, very good, and it's very fast and easy to get around. And as much as Siri does not understand me on my cell phone, on my iPhone, forget it. Siri just doesn't ever get it right on my iPhone. She gets it right perfectly on the Apple TV.
Wow, how is that?
I don't know.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep. You can say things like, find me some funny TV shows, but you can, my favorite part is I can say, play the latest Scandal episode, and it'll bring up a screen to sort of confirm what you're looking for. And then you click on it, and then it'll say, do you want to watch it in iTunes or Hulu? And so within 2 clicks, I can say, find me the latest episode, click, there. Don't have to look for it anywhere else.
That's amazing.
I can say, watch Friends season 8, episode 3. No problem. Now, here's this funny thing. So this thing where they're showing, show me some funny shows or show me action stuff, makes you think that it's contextual like it is on the Google TV or the Android TV. Mm-hmm. And it's not. Because when I said to Siri, show me shows that are shot in Las Vegas, or show me the sinking ship shows, it said, I can't search for what something is about. It came up on screen. But you can go exactly to where you want to go to. You can launch any of the apps. An interesting thing, too, is that when I was in Plex on the Apple TV, which originally it didn't come up with Plex, it came a couple weeks later, I could look at what was on the screen of my shows that were on the screen and say, play Back to the Future. And it would play just right straight out right there in the app that it was in. Mm-hmm. So Siri is just awesome. And now it doesn't make sense she also does playback. And it's worked in every app that I've done. Other people have said that it doesn't work for the apps that they've done. But for me, it has worked perfectly. And you don't want to just use it to play and pause. That doesn't make any sense, because you have to press the, here we go. Here it is. You have to press
the Apple TV has a new remote.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second too.
Okay.
But you have to press the microphone button to get Siri. Well, as you can see, right below the microphone button is the play pause button. So it does make sense to press that button and say pause. Right. But what it does, you also notice there's no fast forward or rewind, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of odd.
It's not really, because for fast forward and rewind, this whole area right here is a touch screen, and you just go back and forth like this on the
fast forward or rewind.
You scrub it,
yeah.
Yeah. And it has the thumbnails, so it makes it really easy to find stuff. So that's pretty cool. But you can also with Siri say, rewind 5 minutes or fast forward a minute and a half. and she'll go right to that spot.
Wow.
I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty darn cool. I agree. I agree totally. Well, we got a couple of questions in the chat room. We have one more device to talk about. But before we do, I'd like to thank our other sponsor for this episode, which is Epson. Epson's revolutionary EcoTank line of printers for home and office introduce a new age of printing. The new EcoTank ET4550 wireless all-in-one printer doesn't use ink cartridges. Instead, it features an innovative refillable ink tank. It comes with enough ink to print up to 8,500 pages, equivalent to about 50 ink cartridge sets. You're loaded and ready to print for up to 2 years. Powered by Epson's leading-edge precision core technology, it delivers high-speed, vivid colors and laser-quality black text. Plus, it has auto two-sided printing, a 30-page auto document feeder, and easy wireless printing from tablets and smartphones. All EcoTank printers deliver an unbeatable combination of convenience and value with ultra-low-cost replacement ink bottles. Now you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, office, or work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. That's epson.com/EcoTank. And we thank Epson very much for their support of Home Theater Geeks. Epson, exceed your vision. So, Barb Gonzalez, one more device that I would like to make sure we get a chance to chat about a little bit here, and that, of course, is Chromecast, which is now in its second generation. And in fact, there are two. There's Chromecast and there's Chromecast Audio, which I believe you have looked at both of those. Am I correct?
I have both, yes.
And interestingly, we have a picture of the old Chromecast and the new Chromecast together because they changed their form factor. Do you have any idea why that might be?
Well, I haven't heard anything specific, but I can tell you that notice how there's like a wire that comes out for the HDMI cable. The wire makes it easier. See how fat the Chrome guy is?
Yeah, the first generation.
First generation is. Sometimes when you put it next to something else, it would kind of block the next HDMI. And it came with an extender, but so I guess I figured, well, why make everybody put the extender on? We'll just have it connected. Now the other thing is, see that silver that's right anyway on the right on the thing. There's like a silver oblong thing. That's actually a magnet. So when you take it off, the magnet kind of sticks to the little disc and makes it really easy to put in your pocket.
So in other words, that cable isn't kind of like dangling.
No, it becomes, kind of all contained. And
one
so
little unit.
I think that they did it as because they knew people that were taking it places with them. It doesn't show that you also still have to connect it into a USB, either the TV or on the wall, to get the power. But yeah, I think that's really why they did it. It's kind of convenient.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, say that again about the power. I was looking at the chat room and I missed that.
That it, like the first generation, you have to connect a micro USB cable to get power for it. And
I got it.
And you can either connect it into the USB on the TV, or you could connect it into the wall.
And has it improved in any significant way from the original?
I don't know.
Not really?
And when I say I don't know, it's like the first one worked fine. I'm sure it's faster and the quality is more reliable and everything. I didn't have any problems with the first one. But,
so it's difficult to say, oh, this is so much better.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that it's the same price. It's $35. If you had the first one, I see absolutely no reason, unless you like the form factor, to get the second one.
Okay.
And, it is going to play the same. You're going to Chromecast from the same stuff. The same different apps. You're going to be able to stream from all the same apps. I believe that it too has 802.11 AC. So the hardware is better. So if you had problems with the first one, then get the second one. If you didn't have problems with the first one, stick with it. And if you have not bought one, then just buy the second gen.
Yeah, yeah. And what about the Chromecast audio? I've been meaning to try that out. I haven't gotten one yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, personally, I kind of don't get it. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you have Bluetooth stuff. I have connectors that turn speakers into Bluetooth speakers. I suppose if you have speakers around that are Bluetooth and you want to make it available to cast from Spotify or any of these other things, then I guess it makes sense. But I have devices that, well, my AV receivers is got Bluetooth. So if I want to stream to it, I could just stream from my phone to that anyway. So
what about other speakers elsewhere in the house that maybe either you're hooked up to a that you have a little 2-channel older system, say in the bedroom or the kitchen or something?
That's what I'm saying. That's what it's good for. It's good to make an older system wireless, and because it has the 3.5 millimeter connector out, you can easily get one of those adapters that's got the RCA on the other side to do a line in to any kind of older receiver or older speakers that might, or any of those kind of things. I don't know if you found anything about the whole house idea. I know
This was the other thing. The fact that they're planning. I don't think it's implemented yet, but I've been told that if you have several of these Chromecast audios and you put them around the house, you can sort of turn it into a Sonos-like substance, as Mike Heiss in the chat room often calls it. There's so many different, proprietary ones from Yamaha and elsewhere, and then Sonos and so on. But this is kind of a more open kind of a system that would do a similar thing. Hopefully they'll get that in a firmware update at some point soon.
That is one of the things that I played with. I hooked it into the line in on my Sonos and chose line in, and then I was able to take any kind of music from anything and put it into the Sonos. Not that the Sonos doesn't have that anyway, but
right. But just to try it out,
yeah, just to try it out. So right, at this point, I just don't get it. For me personally, it's not something that I would need. I've got plenty of Bluetooth speakers,
right,
all that sort of stuff. And
free Wi-Fi too in the chat room. It says, "Can't the Chromecast get power over HDMI?" And the answer is no.
Nope, none of the dongles that stream do that. All of the dongles that stream have to have extra power.
Right. I can't recall if HDMI even provides any power at all. I know HD Base T does, which is a sort of an extension of HDMI, but I don't think HDMI by itself does.
Do we have time to smear Apple Music?
Sure, go for it.
My other reason for not liking Apple right now
is Apple Music.
Right. Well, I mean, we didn't mention that about the Apple TV, that the only music that you can get on Apple TV is Apple Music and iTunes. But
not Pandora, not Spotify, none of those other ones.
None of those. Not at this point. Nothing. And that's why I guess I wouldn't have only an Apple TV. I have the luxury of having all of them, so that I could switch between them. But I think that if I could only get one, it probably wouldn't be the Apple TV because of the music kind of limitations. But I was having problems because I have a huge library of music that I uploaded my CDs that I burned into my iTunes library. And for years, that was fine. But then the whole Apple Match started messing it up. And now I'm finding that there's some like old songs, like old songs from Motown, where they've replaced my original songs with cover bands. I mean,
Really?
maybe the cover band's the Supremes or something, but it's like, I don't like that version. I want the original version. And I can't.
It actually went and replaced an original version with some more recent thing. That seems just absurd.
I haven't looked at my actual library, but I've read, I think it was on Wired, that some people's MP3s were actually being replaced. I don't know how that could happen, but I can, on my iPhone, I can't play a lot of my songs in the version that I want to play it. It's what they matched it, and that I can't change that. And now the new iTunes, you can't just move the music over, from the iTunes to the phone. You have to use the cloud to get it. And I'm pissed.
Mike Heisen in the chat room is saying you do get power from MHL. I forgot that one.
Right.
Not from HDMI itself, but from MHL. And the Roku stick gets its power from MHL, but it has to be plugged into an MHL port, which is a form of HDMI. Sorry
to talk over you, but it's only the MHL Roku stick. The other Roku stick, the plain HDMI Roku stick, doesn't need a MHL. So there's one that's MHL and one that isn't.
Right. But the one that isn't MHL needs power from someplace else, right?
That's right. Yes.
It needs a micro USB cable plugged into a wall or a TV itself, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Compter is mentioning, don't forget that Rust Sound has whole house audio systems too. There are a bunch of them that do. There's tons of them out there. Oh, and My Tallest 42, and at least one other person mentioned that the Chromecast audio also has optical out. That same output, I've always found this very interesting, how the same output can either accommodate an 1/8-inch mini jack or optical.
I don't know that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess one of the things, though, if you're talking about Rust Sound and all these other whole home, those are pretty expensive when you're comparing that to $35. Even a Bluetooth speaker is going to be more than $35. So if you need those kind of things, it's probably a good deal.
I look forward to playing with it myself. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I really would like to. Okay, in the few minutes we have left, I know that you yourself have not tried the high dynamic range 4K streams, of which there is a growing number. You don't have an HDR capable TV yet. Hopefully, you'll get one soon.
Hint, guys.
But I wanted to point out that an AVS member by the name of Ray0414, that's his username, of course, has started a master list of HDR streaming content from all different sources. And I just think this is wonderful. I'm really glad he did it. And I encourage those of you who have an HDR-capable TV to go to AVS Forum, and you can look up his username, Ray0414, or you can look up, I believe, 4K HDR. You can search for that, and you'll find it too. I think I sent that URL to you, Josh, to show if we have the opportunity to. I'm not sure we do, but if we do, then yeah, there it is. So you scroll down there a little bit, and you can see this list. There's a bunch on MGO, which is, I think MGO is owned by Samsung. Or
is it?
Yeah, or it's they're in.
When did that happen?
They're linked together in some way. I'm pretty sure.
MGO was originally made by, Technicolor.
Yes, that's true. They must have made some kind of deal, because the HDR content on MGO is playable on Samsung TVs, and I don't know if any others will work. But there's also a list on Vudu, I think. Well, there's Amazon Prime Video. They've got a bunch. And I don't know if that list includes, oh yeah, it does include Vudu, which uses Dolby Vision, the other type of high dynamic range. And right now, only the Vizio reference series, the 65-inch or the 120-inch, can play that in Dolby Vision. And that's just something I wanted to mention to everybody, because there right now is the only way you're going to see high dynamic range content at home is over these from these streaming providers, or if you go out to the theaters and see a Dolby Cinema movie that's been graded in Dolby Vision, you'll see that. So I know you don't have any experience with that yet, but hopefully you will the next time you come on and we can talk about it.
Cool.
SoundPro69 says Apple is a closed ecosystem, so you are at their mercy. Getting back to this whole Apple Music business, so that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, Lawn Dog says the center of the 3.5 millimeter jack has an optical port, which just blows my mind how tiny that must be. And Compter says on LG's TV there is no MGO, so there you go. Or rather, don't go.
Well, like I said, Roku, however, has it completely integrated. You know,
which is great.
You don't go to an MGO app. It's just, that's the movies. If you want Roku movies, it's from MGO.
Yeah. But I wonder if they do, if you can get HDR through the Roku. I think not at this point. Do you know? I
don't know. But I kind of think that you can. Because you can do the 4K, so.
You can do the 4K, but the question then becomes, does the Roku have an HDMI 2.0A output? Because that A tells you that the interface can carry the metadata that's associated with this particular type of high dynamic range called HDR10, colloquially called that. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to look up. I don't know. You might or might not know if the Roku has HDMI 2.0A output or not.
I would be speaking out of turn to say.
Okay, so that's a little piece of research that we can do. Let's see. Oh, basically, I think what you're saying is that all these players are quite good. We're seeing an improvement over time in streaming services and also streaming receivers, such as all these boxes, right?
Right. Yeah, there's so many great things going on with streaming. It's really becoming a place where I don't have to ever turn on my cable or other boxes. On my Simple Tech Guru site, I've kind of done what are the weaknesses and what are the strengths of each of the ones and who should buy which one. Because that's what it kind of comes down to is what is your viewing habits? Who are you? What is important to you? That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I do recommend that people go to that to go to your site and check that article out because it really is very good, comparing all of them together. One other thing I wanted to show real quick before we leave is I found a couple of comparison charts that I thought were kind of cool. One is, I don't remember what they're called exactly, but I'm sure, Josh, you can find them. Okay, here's one, new Apple TV versus Roku 4. And you can see that the new Apple TV is 1080p versus 4K even at 60 frames per second. The Apple TV has a bit more memory, but it only uses HDMI 1.4 as opposed to the Roku, which does 2.0. The Roku has a USB port, optical audio, and SD slot, which the Apple TV does not have any of those.
It has a micro SD slot.
Ah, well, then you must have a micro SD card or an adapter, I guess. Huh?
Yes.
And both of them do gaming. They're around the same price. A new Apple TV is $150 to $200. Roku 4 is $129. So, okay. What I found even more interesting was the comparison of streaming providers. And this was, I think, a comparison across at least 4 of the platforms. Here we go. Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Chromecast. Of course, Netflix is everywhere. I'm amazed at how ubiquitous.
HBO Go is on Fire TV now too.
Oh, it is. So this thing's out of date. What do you know?
And Google Play is on Fire TV.
Okay, so
yeah.
So in other words, the basic thing here is, I mean, except for things like iTunes, they'll all support Plex, except for things like iTunes and the Google store, which will undoubtedly only be available on those associated devices. You can get just about anything on just about any device, huh?
You can. And the surprising thing to me is that you can get Google Play, like your Google Play movies and such.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can get them on both the Amazon Fire TV and the Roku.
Well, there you go. Any final words about what to expect? What do you expect to see at CES? It's only a month and a half away.
God, I think they just like blew it out of the park right now, you know. But I think that you're right. I think things like HDR is going to become more prevalent, and I think that it's going to become more about streaming from other kinds of devices, and you know what you're going to be able to stream and how you're going to stream from TVs. They brought it all out right now, and. How
can they follow that? I don't know.
Yeah. What is there right now? You know.
Well, HDR is the big thing that I'm looking for. Yeah. So hopefully next time we speak, you will have an HDR TV and you'll be able to tell us about your impressions of how well that works.
Well, I'm looking forward to having a lot more dynamic range and a lot more colors that look very real. So that'll be cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to that, too. Hey, so we've come to the end of a great hour. Thank you so much for being here. That's Barb Gonzalez, the Simple Tech Guru at simpletechguru.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Scott. It's always a pleasure.
Always a great pleasure to see you. You can find me, of course, at avsforum.com. You can email me at scott@twit.tv. And you can follow me on Twitter at htgeekscott and avsforum. You can always find previous episodes of Home Theater Geeks right here at twit.tv/HTG and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/twit Home Theater Geeks. Next Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving here in the United States, so Home Theater Geeks will be dark that day. Hope you all have a wonderful, healthy, and happy Thanksgiving. On December 3rd, 2 weeks from today, my guest geeks are scheduled to be Ricky Farr, who was on the show a couple of months ago, talking about the Isle of Wight Festival and his amazing career as a music promoter. He'll be on the show this time talking about the products that he has helped to develop at a company called Audio Design Experts under the brand name Riva Audio. And also on that show is scheduled to be the chief engineer there, a guy by the name of Don North. And we're going to be talking about the technology inside their very cool Bluetooth speakers. So I do hope you will join me for that. Should be a fascinating conversation. Until then, geek out.